What is up, guys? Welcome to Memes Not Meta. Today we got another spicy deck profile for you today. We got Aidan featured on the channel right now. And Aidan, what are you profiling for us today?
Be profiling my Crusadia Kaiju deck.
All right, very nice. Now, I believe you did pretty well with this deck in a certain recent tournament. Is that right?
That's right. I topped locals last week with it. I went.
Very nice.
Yes, went 3-1.
And what were your matchups? Do you remember?
So first round I played Super Heavy Samurai and lost.
Wow, I wonder what kind of person will be playing Super Heavy Samurai.
Then I played Trains and won.
I wonder what kind of person being Trains too.
Played a Pendulum Magician, Ritual Beast. This is a more pendulum based deck. I won against that, and then I won against Salads.
Very nice, very nice.
I was pretty happy with the result.
All right, let's get into the profile and see what worked.
So first off, we got pretty much the best Crusadia monster, Crusadia Maximus. So we run him at 3. And each Crusadia monster, they have their own effect where they can be special summoned to a link zone that a monster points to. So Crusadia Maximus' effect is that he can target a Crusadia monster and that monster deals double battle damage. So this guy is the playmaker when you're trying to OTK. So this is an absolute must-have at 3. Next monster is Triple Crusadia Draco. Crusadia Draco, same ability to be special summoned to a link zone. His ability is you can add a Crusadia card from your graveyard to your hand. Now this comes in really handy because when you special summon to some of your Crusadia link monsters, it creates a chain block. So, say for example, if you special summon a Crusadia Maximus as your link monster, you can special summon Draco. You chain link 1 off of Maximus, or you chain link 1 off of Magius or of Regulex. Chain link 2 is going to be your Crusadia Draco. So Crusadia Draco will add a card, your normal summon Crusadia, back from your graveyard to your hand, and then the effect of your Magius or your Regulex will resolve, and therefore it can't be ashed.
So that's very good then.
That's very good. That's what keeps you from. That's what keeps your searches alive, and you absolutely must run Draco at 3. Next, you're running Triple Crusadia Arborea at 3. Crusadia Arborea, no on special summon effect, but has a protection effect in the graveyard. So, and it's also a tuner, so you can use that for some synchro plays.
Oh, but some spicy synchros in that.
Some spicy synchros, of course.
Very nice.
Obviously, Arborea is a must-have. Next, I run Triple Crusadia Reclusia. Reclusia is also has also a pretty good effect. So when it's special summoned to a link zone, you can target one Crusadia monster you control and one card your opponent controls, and you pop both of them. So this is really good for just general removal. I use this since you don't run any spell or trap removal in the main deck. You do in the side deck. This is your really key out to some critical floodgates. So, you know, things like Rivalry of the Warlords, there can only be one.
Does that otherwise pretty much cripple the deck? I mean,
yeah, I mean, it's because you won't be able to just pull off some of your combos, which you need to use to get the OTK. And floodgates and hand trap, yeah, they definitely stop this deck, but there are some ways to get around it, and I think having him at 3 is a good option. Next, I only play 2 Crusadia Leonis. Now, what Leonis does is that he can target a Crusadia monster, and that monster will deal piercing damage. This is good. I think in my future builds, I will want to bump this up to 3, just for more Crusadia names. But right now, I prioritized Reclusia over Leonis. But I think either running 3 of Leonis or 2 of Reclusia, I think those could be interchangeable.
Personal preference kind of thing.
Personal preference. And then run 1 World Legacy World Crown. This is also just a free special summon. It's also a big attack monster. Can be searched with Ib, which I run in the extra deck.
Oh, nice.
So it's a good option to have, and it's just free special summon, free attack. Triple Ash. Pretty self-explanatory. You kind of need hand traps in today's metagame.
Now this is a pure going second deck, correct?
Yeah, this is a pure going second deck. You can make first turn plays, but they're not as strong, obviously. But having hand traps definitely lets you get the consistency in going second, and then if you do end up going first, they can limit your opponent from making the big turn plays, the second or turn 2 plays.
If someone doesn't want to buy Ash, even though it's like $5 now, would you say there's another substitution, or do you really think this deck needs Ash?
Honestly, what it really needs is just some form of negation. Effective Veiler is another good option. I think some sort of hand trap is pretty necessary, but I think Ash being as cheap it is now, because it's only $5 from the Soul Burner structure deck. So I think, it could even be lower at this point, but I think having it at 3, I think is a good option. Something necessary to have. Then we run a Kaiju package. So I just run 5 different named Kaijus. You can really run any 5 different names. Doesn't necessarily matter, but I don't know. Let me organize this a little bit better.
And I'm guessing the different names are for those that interrupted target.
For the interrupted targets, and yeah, I'll show that later. But honestly, the biggest downfall of this deck is I bricked way too much on the Kaijus. So in future, I might drop one of the Kaijus down to maybe running 4 Kaijus, but I think having the Kaijus are absolutely necessary. It gets you over your problem monsters that would end up negating your plays. So for instance, in the Pendulum Magician matchup, they put up a ton of negates, but if you're able to just, in this case, just Kaiju over their problem, like Odd Eyes Vortex or Dawn Dragster, then you'll be able to make your plays. You'll probably be able to make them much easier in that sense. You won't have to deal with the negates.
Is this the Crusadia build that you want the high attack Kaijus, or is this one where it doesn't really matter?
When you interrupted, you want to give them the lowest possible, and you want to give yourself the highest possible.
Because then that goes and contributes to one of your boss monsters.
Yeah, because when you get to your extra deck monsters, the Crusadia extra deck monsters gain attack of the monsters it points to, so you're just gaining yourself more attacks that you can attack into. Now, is it the end of the world if you give your opponent, maybe say a Jinzakiru, and then you take the Gamma Seal? No, but it's just for added protection because, yes, I've had my boss monsters outed, so at least you kind of have a big beat stick.
So with Interrupted, can you essentially put one of the Kaijus in a spot where your equal max points to your opponent's one as well?
Yes, and that's something that you will need to do when you do an Interrupted.
Okay.
What you want to do is you want to put one Kaiju directly in line with a Link Zone, and then the other Kaiju, which would be in this case maybe Jinzaku or Thunder King, Thunder King. You're going to put that diagonal to the Link Zone wherever. So if this was, I'm just going to do this for demonstration. If this was the Link Zone, you'd want to put Gamma Seal here, and then you'd want to put another Kaiju somewhere diagonal to it.
And then this would become equal max.
Equal max would be pointing, and then X max would be pointing to both, gaining the attack of both. So that's just something for note. But I ran 5 Kaijus. I think running 4 would probably be a little bit more effective, but that's something I'll have to try out in the future. And then for the final main deck monster, I'm running 1 Rocket Synchron.
Boy.
This is the more spice tech. Running Rocket Synchron along with Quick Launch, which I'll show in the future, you can get into Borreload Savage with this. It's a pretty spicy play. The only unfortunate thing is I didn't see it rarely at all. If you open this, it's a complete brick. Quick Launch will not work, or it will not activate. So in the future, I might just cut this out and change it with Instant Fusion and have Instant Fusion targets in my extra deck. But I think for now it was interesting, and I think it was worth trying out.
I mean, for those turns you can pull off Savage, that's
hilarious.
pretty savage, if you know what I mean.
Yes. So that is the main deck for monsters. Going in, you play triple Quick Launch. Quick Launch lets you special summon a rocket monster from deck. You only run 1. So if you end up drawing Rocket Synchron, you can't activate these. They're just absolute bricks.
Well, actually, I gotta imagine, though, that this is a very good card that you want to be ashed, correct? Like, you would rather have this ashed than some of your other cards.
Yeah, you're right. I would rather have this ashed, but a lot of times people didn't ash this because they didn't expect it, and they didn't think it would be as powerful as it would be.
I feel like a lot of people would probably see that you're running that and just be like, okay, wow, this guy's running rockets. This is trash. I don't need to do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that they have kind of some other mentality.
Is this pretty much the first card out of your hand if you open it?
not necessarily. I usually keep this towards the end. I start doing it with my Crusadia plays, and then I usually activate Quick Launch. If I know I can get into the Borreload Savage combo, I wait until I have Equimax.
Because you can put him under Equimax then.
Not quite, but it goes along with the combo, which I can always demonstrate later. And then you can, or I can use this just to help link climb as per
Give
needed.
another body on the field.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Next, I run one Crusadia Revival, one Crusadia Testament, and one Crusadia Power. So these are the 3 Crusadia spells that you have. I know some people up the counts of Testament or up the counts of Power to maybe 2, but I think 1 across the board is good enough, because if you open with more than one of the Crusadia spells in hands, they're also just bricks. So Testament, unaffected, your monster's effects can't be activated in response to. And then the second effect, which is absolutely ridiculous, is if you destroy a monster by battle, one of your link monsters, you draw cards equal to the link rating. So if you destroy a card with Equimax, you just get 3 free draws off of this.
4 if it's like a Yugioh, right?
Well, it has to be a Crusadia monster, but if you,
it has to be Crusadia.
But if it's Crusadia Abermax, Mekk-Knight Crusadia Abermax.
That's 4, right?
Yeah, that's 4. So you would just get 4 draws. It's literally ridiculous.
That's beautiful.
Crusadia Revival is the field spell. They gain 500 attack, and then you can target one Crusadia monster, and it can attack all monsters on field. I usually go for this if I'm going for the OTK. If I'm going for Testament, I usually go for it if I know I can't get the OTK, but I would still like to be set up. So I usually go for this for the OTK, this for setup. And then for Power, this is just the Crusadia monster you target is unaffected by card effects for the turn. So if someone ashes my Crusadia Magius, I can chain this in response and I can still activate his draw effect. So it's just a generic protection, and it's definitely really good. I usually search for this if I'm playing some kind of heavy back row deck. Like if I'm playing Orchest and they try to activate a Fog Blade, I can chain this and just still get my effect off.
Very good.
Next, I play Triple Interrupted. Pretty standard for Kaijus. If you get this to resolve, it's pretty much game. And because they usually don't have another answer to it. I still think keeping Kaiju Slumber at 3 is still definitely really good, and I still want to do that. I think just downing the Kaiju counts is probably where it's needed most. Next, I play 3 Called by the Graves. Pretty standard for almost any deck at this point. Stops hand traps, and hand traps are against this deck can be quite annoying to deal with, so having 3 negations for that definitely needed. Next, I play 1 Monster Reborn and then 2 World Legacy Secession. Basically, I'm playing 3 Monster Reborns. World Legacy Secession is absolutely ridiculous. So it's special summons. It's basically you're a Monster Reborn when you have a Link monster on field. Having 3, I think it's a good number, because a lot of times when I bricked with the Kaiju's opening hand, I usually possibly had a Succession, and that helped keep the combo alive. Because really, to OTK, you need, if you have a Kaiju Slumber, you only need 2 Crusadia monsters in hand, and you can get the OTK. So having 3 Monster Reborns available, I think definitely helped the consistency. And then for the final and the only trap I play in the deck, I play 1 Crusadia Crawler. Crusadia Crawler is definitely a searchable. It's a searchable card through Regulex, and when it's special summoned to a Link Zone, you can search for a World Legacy card and add it from deck to hand. So you can either add World Legacy World Crown or one of your World Legacy Secessions. I usually search for it when I'm going first. In some cases, because I can set it and then on my opponent's turn special summon it, search for a World Legacy card. So I think it's good for consistency. And it's also a good search target for when you're doing your whole Borreload Savage combo. Right. That is the main deck. That's 40 cards. So
let's get on to that extra.
Let's get on to the extra deck. Playing Triple Crusadia Magius. Absolutely necessary to have a 3. This is your Link 1. When you special summon a monster, a Crusadia monster to this zone, you can search for a Crusadia monster in deck, add it to hand. Easy search. Next, I play 3 Regulex. A lot of people cut this down to 2, which I can totally see, and I may do that in the future. But I decided to run it at 3 today because if you cannot get into an Equimax, Regulex can still be your win condition. You can still win from this because this gains the attack of both monsters it points to, and a lot of times I'm able to get a Kaiju on my opponent's side of the field. So being able to still have something like a 4,000 attack Regulex and attack all my monsters on field, that can definitely save you games. But what he does is when a monster special summons into a zone, you can search for Crusadia's spell or trap and add it from deck to hand. So I think definitely useful. Definitely have at least 2 or 3 of. 1 Crusadia Spatha. I didn't really go into this a whole lot. This is usually used for Crusadia Guard Dragons, but I could still see the usage, and I still think it's worth running at 1. This allows you to move a monster that is pointed to in its link zone to another zone. So, still think it's worth to run at 1, but I didn't really see it. 2 Crusadia Equimax. Equimax is your boss monster you'll be getting into most likely. So Equimax, he gains the attack of all monsters the link arrows point to. He has a quick effect where he can send to the grave 1 Crusadia monster, or I think a World Legacy monster, that's pointed to his arrows, and you can quick effect negate a card on the field.
Can you do that with an opponent's card that it's pointing to?
Yeah, that's, oh, no.
You can't?
No, you can't do that. Because I'm pretty sure it has to be what you control.
Ah, okay.
But
still, very good. And I'm assuming you can still make that first turn and sit on that quick effect negate.
Yeah, that's usually a good first turn play. Or going into the next card. Honestly, and then we'll go into the next card in just 1 second. But if you get Crusadia, a Kaiju Slumber, and then you have Maximus, you're attacking for like 14,000 of attack. So that's just game. Or another first turn play I tend to do sometimes is just sit on Magnite Crusadia Avermax. It's a great card, great link 4. Fairly easy to get into in the deck first turn. I think you need to open with something like 3 Crusadia cards in hand, which isn't too hard to do. Definitely a good card to sit on, can't be targeted, and then it gains the attack of special summon monsters that attacks. So I think it's good to just sit on. So, I mean, running it at 1.
Can't get over it,
yeah, a lot of decks can't get over it. That's what happened in my Salamangreat matchup. Next, I'm running 1 Nightmare Phoenix, and then I'm running 1 Topologic Trisbania.
Ooh.
This is for more spell or trap removal. I didn't really go into these a whole lot because I didn't want to overextend myself with my Crusadia plays, but I think having these is not bad. I might end up cutting Trisbania because I don't really see too much of a use I could have for getting into it, but I still think it's worth keeping, at least for now. That's it for the Link monsters in the extra deck. And then I run 1 FA Dawn Dragster.
First turn play?
It could be, yeah, it's definitely one of your first turn plays. You usually use Crusadia Arborea and then a level 4, so either Maximus or Draco to get into this. And then 1 Ib. This is where the Rocket Synchron comes in handy. Because if you have a level 4 Crusadia monster, you can special summon using Quick Launch your Crusadia, or your Rocket, and that's a link 5 into World Legacy World Chalice.
Your sync 5, level 5 synchro.
Yeah. So what you do is you synchro summon into Ib, you search for a World Legacy Secession, play Secession, so to special summon back one of your level 3 in the graveyards, and then using Ib and your level 3, you can get into Borreload Savage. Borreload Savage then can attach itself one of your link monsters, and you will definitely be getting almost guaranteed a link 2. Or actually, it would be guaranteed a link 2 in this case. So you'd be attaching Regulex to this. So you have 2 negates on board with Borreload Savage, and then you have a negate on board with Equimax. If you end up searching something like your Crawler or just have another Crusadia card in hand. Didn't end up seeing or was able to get out this very rarely, but that's why I think maybe switching this with an instant fusion targets would be a lot better for the consistency, but I didn't think it was terrible to run. I think and when you can pull it off, it's absolutely hilarious. It's so fun. So that's it for the extra deck. Going into the side deck, play 3 Artifact Lancias, necessary against the Orcust.
Middle finger to Thunders.
Pretty much, yeah. Against the Orcust and Thunder Dragons, definitely need to play this. Then I play Triple Ogre.
Ooh.
I think it's better against certain matchups. Sometimes I'll interchange it with the Ash or just take out my Call by the Grave for it. I think it's just generally good to have. Triple Twin Twisters. Spell and trap removal. against true Draco decks or just any back row like Altergeists, definitely necessary. Against Mystic Mine if you end up playing that too. Red Reboot, triple red reboot. Absolutely, this card wins you so many games. Honestly, against the Salad matchups, this is ridiculous. Against his Salads, I think Crusadia has a generally good Salad matchup because all the Salad cards, they're all low attack monsters, and if you're able to stop their spells or if you're able to stop their traps with Red Reboot, you pretty much have the OTK on board, especially if you have Maximus because of how much the differential is of your attack points plus ×2. So I think I haven't really had too much of a problem with the Salad matchups. I have though with like Orcust or anything with heavy back row. True Draco, definitely. And then for the final extra deck, my Spice Tech as a 3 Shared Ride.
Ooh.
3 Shared Ride.
Now, what does that do?
So Shared Ride, you draw cards every time your opponent adds a card from deck to hand.
I feel like that's good.
It's good. I didn't really play it too often, but it's good against some matchups. So Salads. I'm thinking some of the other matchups offhand.
Cards that add a lot of
Dangers.
Danger, definitely.
Thunder Dragons. Just, I think it's not a bad card to have. Spice it up a little bit.
Why not?
Yeah. So that is the whole deck profile right there.
All right. Any final closing words on your local topping Crusadia Kaiju list?
Definitely very fun. Very unexpected deck. A lot of people know that Crusadias are good, but they don't know how good. Like, they've never really faced that. They've never really experienced the deck. But I would say definitely worth investing in or definitely worth playing. I think it's definitely a fun deck. Has some good matchup against the meta right now. And I think in the future, things will get better for the deck, of course. And I think as more time changes. But definitely very fun. Highly suggest it.
All right. Thank you very much for that profile. If you guys have any questions or comments about the deck, go ahead, drop a comment below, and we will get Aidan to get on that and help you out with that. Aidan, thank you very much.
Yep. See y'all next time.